What's going on, everybody? Welcome to IndieQuest, a celebration of the indie and obscure. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, and I'm joined by one of my co-hosts here. I almost said Steve. Seth, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Today, I actually did. Most of the time we come here and we start talking, and it's always like, yeah, I didn't really do much. What'd you guys do? Well, not really all that much. But I actually just got back recently from seeing Spirited Away in theater, which was
awesome.
Super fun. Studio Ghibli every once in a while will just like roll their movies back out and put them in theaters again. But it's very limited. Like you have a weekend to see it. So my sister asked me if I wanted to go, and I hadn't ever seen one in theater, so we went, we watched it, and it was as good as it always is, except for on a big screen. So
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and we're also joined by our guest that's very patiently waiting for to be introduced here, Michelle from Point and Drink. How are you?
Hello, Josh. Hello, Seth. I'm well, thank you. I have not been really doing anything as fun as going to see Studio Ghibli movies in theater. I do have to ask, was it in English or Japanese? This is me judging you.
English. We've had this discussion before, though.
I know, we have. You watch English and I watch Japanese. One read the subtitles like a sophisticated person who watches anime.
I have started to do it more often lately because when you have Crunchyroll, there are anime, of course, on Crunchyroll that seem really good, and probably at least like 35% of them aren't dubbed. So it's like, if you want to really expand your horizons, you have to start reading. But I think that I've explained before that I will often like do laundry or dishes or something while watching anime. Treat it almost like YouTube in that way. And so when I'm doing that stuff, it is much harder to read and do a chore, right? So that's always been my holdup. But there are certain ones I just need to get around to and suck it up and be a big boy. But yeah.
I mean, some people say hold up, and I just hear excuses. I don't really care.
Yes.
Wow. Josh.
I don't really have a preference. I'll do either one. That's me. Yeah. But Michelle, why don't you tell the audience out there what you do on the internet, what your podcast is all about? Just kind of roll it out there. Tell them all the cool stuff you do.
Oh, all the cool things. Mostly what I do is I am one of the co-hosts of Point and Drink Adventure with my bestie Pam, who is Cannot Be Tamed. We sit there, have a nice little cocktail, which today I'm drinking just a simple vodka ginger beer because I was lazy. And we talk about drink, we talk about movies, we talk about video games, and then we talk about the pickups we have, which is mostly vinyl at this point. Like video game vinyls and such, because I have an obsession that cannot be quenched. So, but it's fun.
How many, Michelle, do you think you own vinyls?
Total vinyl or video game vinyl?
Video game. We'll stick with video game.
Video game vinyl, about 100, probably.
100.
About
That's nuts.
Maybe a little bit less than 100. I'm guesstimating. It's probably about 100.
I know there have been times when I've stumbled upon them and I will send them to you and you're like, yeah, I already have that one. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Yeah, got it. It becomes a problem. I go to the stores now and I'm like, got it. And don't need it. Got it. Because you have to be selective. Because I don't want every vinyl. I want RPGs, horror, and like things I may have nostalgia for, or games I've played. That's the rule. I break the rule all the time, but that's my rule.
see, I'm not a huge... I play them, and I enjoy, I suppose, the difficulty of them at times, but shmups often have absolutely amazing soundtracks. So I think that even though I'm not a huge shmup fan, I would probably still have to collect shmup vinyls because I just like the music in them a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if I've come across many shmups. I probably think the only one that I have that may be considered a shmup is Truxton.
Yeah,
is that
that's
a shmup? I have Truxton.
I think so. Yep.
So that's probably about it, though. And really only because, like, I've never played Truxton. But the nostalgia for this one is my father was in the Navy, and the cruiser he was on is called Truxton. Literally the only reason I have it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, that's what I do. I sit here and drink and talk about movies.
Heck yeah. Well, when we have a new guest on, we like to ask the big question: what's your favorite indie game of all time?
Indie game of all time. I'm not prepared for this. Oh my God. Of all time. Okay. I will say, because it's more recent and it's one of the greatest gaming experiences I've had in a really long time, is Expedition 33. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is probably my most recent favorite, just because I loved it so much. Probably that.
We've had a debate. And I completely okay with that answer. But we've already had debates of whether it is indie enough. But I think that it is an indie game. It's a small French studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just so good looking. I think it's like the best.
You think so?
I need to start that one.
Sometimes I think it's great looking, and then other times it's uncanny valley on their faces, like so badly. And I'm like, ooh, baby. But it does look great when you're doing the battles and such, absolutely. But sometimes I'm just like, that's indie.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But yeah, that's probably my reason.
I like that answer, though. Yeah, that's one I want to get to. I think I'm going to actually start it like in the next couple weeks here. I just feel like November feels like perfect time to play a nice cozy RPG.
It's so cozy.
I know the themes of the. I was gonna say the themes aren't cozy for the actual story. I know, but it does seem like it'll be a good time. Yeah.
I'm excited for you to play it, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, and just to jump to well, this is the horror episode we do every year. It's always called Halloween Spooktacular. This is the 2025 edition. We each bring a horror game, and we have like a horror adjacent topic to start off the show. So I figured, let's just throw some horror movie suggestions out there. You know, could be obscure, could be non-obscure. We can just go around the table here and just throw some out. And who wants to go first?
I nominate Seth, since he was not prepared for this.
Okay, that sounds good.
I have written down two, and I'm going to warn everyone. I think our listeners who listen often know that I'm not a fan of horror in general. Like, I'll watch some horror, I'll play some horror, more so now than in the past, I suppose. So I'm going to have the most basic bitch-ass answers to these
That's fine.
these questions. So this one's stupid, honestly, and I'm sure that a lot of people have seen it. And it's extremely popular set of different franchises, I suppose. But when I was a kid, I thought it was so cool, and the cover was so creepy when I was like a teen, or I can't remember exactly when this movie came out, but I remember it scaring the crap. My sister is an even bigger baby than I am about horror. And I remember she like couldn't even look at the cover of this movie. So we had to like constantly hide it away so she never saw it. And that movie is Freddy versus Jason. I didn't want to go just off the top, one of the Freddys or one of the Jasons, so I combined them, and there you go. And it is so dumb. Looking back,
Michelle is dying.
It is a hilariously dumb movie because it's literally like, oh, we're both doing our thing for half the movie and killing people, and then they're like, now we're gonna kill each other. And yeah, well, you know, Jason doesn't really talk, but yeah, he's thinking it. So yes, I'm sorry. That's his base. I mean, it's gonna get even more basic. I don't know what you want me to do, Michelle. Like I don't watch them.
I love how your sister is afraid of the cover. Like that's just what got me.
Not anymore. Not that she's not, now that she just turned 31 a couple days ago, but she's not afraid of it now, but she was when she was 12, you know. So
Scary. Yeah. No, I love it. Love it. What's
it's
your
not even
second
really
choice?
scary. What? I'm going through all of them right now.
Oh, we don't
Yeah,
have
might as
to.
well.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Oh God. Well, I only have two. I'll have to think on the fly for the third one. This movie is not. It's tough for me to do suggestions to people, so it's like these are like basic if you've never watched horror before. But a fantastic movie, and a movie that I only watched somewhat recently for the first time, and I actually watched it, I think, with Michelle and then a bunch of us. It wasn't recently. It was a few years ago now. We watched The Thing, and
I love the thing.
The Thing
That's
is incredible. Like, it's just, honestly, is it a horror movie? Yes, I suppose. It's not the scariest horror movie in the world. But the suspense of The Thing, like the unknown, it's probably a tough rewatch. I mean, I know people, I'm sure, certainly do it, but if you go into the thing with completely fresh eyes, it is something to behold. Plus, I love Kurt Russell, and Kurt Russell's in it, so of course I'm going to pick that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my partner Sar just watched that for the first time last year, loved it, so had never seen it, so it still holds up for new watchers.
It really does. It's so good.
I used to watch that movie on the treadmill, like as I worked out. I love it.
It was just your treadmill movie of choice, every time.
No, there was a period where I would go running on the treadmill and I'd put on the thing and just be running and watching the thing.
Wow, that's wild. That's funny though. And my third one is
Michelle. You're gonna do a third one too?
I was going to, and I'm already breaking my rule of the franchise thing, but a movie that I watched a long time ago and I have since rewatched several times and still gets me. And like I said, not more of a wow, I can't believe how good that is today versus suggestion, is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's because it still creeps me the hell out. Even watching it now. Now, they got very campy as the series went on. Like, after 3, they were like very... This is clearly like a B horror film produced by a larger studio. But the original is still scary. Like,
it holds up.
It really does. It makes you not want to go to sleep. Like, it is one of those... Like, to be afraid... Like, that's the thing that... For most horror movies, right? If they're really, really scary, especially when you're younger, like, oh, once I get to sleep, I'll be fine, right? Like, I go to sleep, I don't have to think about it anymore. I'll wake up in the morning, I'll forget all about it by tomorrow night. Nightmare on Elm Street is like, no, but you actually don't want to sleep, and it's like this weird that really gets into your head. So those are my 3. Like I said, not at all special, but they are good.
No, special.
Well, they're special.
I just watched, just started watching the Nightmare movies again. We watched the first one last night, like legitimately. So it's amazing still.
The hallway in the school scene and stuff like that. It's just like the boiler room. Like it's very, for an 80s horror movie, it holds up and is still a scary watch. So, yeah.
Good movie. Good job, Seth.
Oh, thanks.
Josh, you go next.
You just had Okay, I'll go next. I have 3 that I like a lot. One of my, I'm going to go a little bit weird first. One of my favorite horror movies is more of a sci-fi horror movie, Annihilation with Natalie Portman from a few years ago.
I watched that one. Wow. Forgot about that one. Nice.
You have?
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's a good movie. Yeah.
It is.
So it's like very creepy. It's very just... It puts you in that place of where she is, this very mysterious force that something's going on. You don't know what. There are horror elements to it. Some body horror stuff happens, and it's just very like, I don't want to spoil nothing for this movie, but it's beautiful. I love the design and the coloration of like all the plants and the flora and fauna in this mysterious wilderness, and it's just really creepy, and it just always like something about it. I just love it. It's one of my favorites.
We were talking last episode when Steve brought Heartworm about how the best kind of horror is when it presents in an environment that isn't typically terrifying, and Annihilation does that very well. Like it doesn't seem like it would be all that scary based on where they're at, but the suspense and the unknown again, right? That's what creeps you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. All right, and then I'm gonna swing over to a comedy horror that I really like. It's campy and it's just a lot of fun. Is Happy Death Day. Have you guys seen that movie? Either one of those? They're just fun. Not. They're just funny and dumb. And so basically it's like Groundhog's Day, but there's a slasher that kills her, and at the end of the day, and when she dies, she resets the day and she has to figure out who the killer is. So it's not really scary per se. It's more just a fun, like, who did it, who done it, like who's the killer, and you start to like trying to guess who it is, and then there's a resolution there, and it's just a lot of fun. I like the leads in it. It makes me laugh. It's just a fun movie to throw on and just watch this time of year.
I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's fun. The sequel's batshit, I'll say. It goes places. Like, they take the premise and just kind of like make it even more zany. It feels like you're watching like a Rick and Morty episode or something, the sequel. Anyway, then we got the last one I want to throw out there is Terrifier and the trilogy. This is like another one I really like, but it's extremely gruesome. It's a very gruesome and bloody and gory horror slasher, but the killer in it, Art the Clown, is one of the creepiest like slashers on screen. So if you haven't seen those and you don't mind some gore and blood and guts, there you go. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, Terrifier is the opposite of anything I will ever watch. Like, if anyone wants to know, hey, what's the movie that Seth would not want to watch? It's Terrifier and those movies. Like, I'm not a big fan of blood in general, so certainly not just a gore fest.
Yeah.
Like I've seen screenshots and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I just don't need to. I'm good.
I'm one of those kids that the Tim Curry version, the freaking TV version, scared the living bejesus out of me as a child. So I don't do clowns. No.
You just don't do clowns,
I don't do
period?
clowns, period. No,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
absolutely not.
I suggested that movie to our buddy Scotch and Hobbies on our movie show, and he loved it. Like, he thought it was amazing. So he's like me; he likes that gore and the slasher fiction. So there you go. I figured I would do some like 3 that are just kind of all over the place, so there's a little bit of variety there. So, Michelle, how about you?
My turn. Okay, yeah. My first movie, I've actually watched this recently. Also, like Seth, this is a John Carpenter movie. John Carpenter made The Thing. This is Prince of Darkness, made in 1987, so a little bit after The Thing. Prince of Darkness is a movie about these ridiculously genius quantum physics students and college students, a mix of them, that get like hired by their college professor to help out this Catholic priest investigating an ancient goo that was discovered in a monastery. And it ends up being the liquid embodiment of Satan. Oh, it is.
Sounds like,
Love it.
reminds me of Ghostbusters too.
Oh my God, no.
It's kind of like that though.
Although the liquid cylinder I could see it. Could see it. But I love this movie because, one, the outfits, fabulous. Straight off the bat, they walk up in their cute little college, I'm in a college student outfits, and they are fabulous. Secondly, the colors in this movie are amazing, as well as the effects, especially at the end. I won't say what happens at the end, but at the end, oh my God, just amazing. And I really think, like, especially John Carpenter is a very famous filmmaker, I feel like. This one I've never watched before, and I was like, wow, this is very well done, very well paced. I actually just watched Big Trouble in Little China. This was made right after Big Trouble in Little China. There's a couple people that are in that movie as well as this one. Fabulous movie. Really interesting because they're ridiculously smart. How all these kids don't have PhDs already when they were 14 is amazing. And it's just very creepy and very well done. Highly recommend. Second movie is I love old movies. So I figured I have to pick one semi-old one. And this is Eyes Without a Face from 1960. This is a French movie about a plastic surgeon who performs a face transplant on his daughter who is disfigured in a car crash. And she wears this creepy mask to hide her face because of her disfigurement. And it's very iconic, like movie poster, because it just looks like a white plasticky and then her eyes. And so it devolves into like crazy and such. Very well crafted, paced movie, especially if you like black and white. But
See, that is the type of poll that I could never in a million years pull. I never a foreign horror film just not in my. But I'm so happy that you mentioned it, Petey, because
get
not
some
in my
culture
repertoire.
in you.
I know. I watch. We were talking about before we started recording. I watch anime. I'm cultured. I just don't watch
so
it
cultured.
Subs.
And then the last one is probably one of my favorite movies. Is the sci-fi one. This is Event Horizon from 1997. Paul Anderson, who also directed Mortal Kombat. Event Horizon, amazing. It is about this ship that is on its like maiden mission, is about to go explore space, like we're going into Star Trek, but then it disappears. 7 years later, you hear a distress signal, and everyone goes, "What the fuck? What is that? Oh my God. All right, I guess we better go figure it out." And they go to figure it out, and no good. Not good. Lots of body horror. Not lots, but like a good amount of body horror. And it is... space is
Unsettling.
bad. Yeah, space is bad. Oh my God. I love that movie. So good. Those are my 3. I got a range.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are good pulls. Event Horizon, another movie that is a little bit too gory for me. I've seen plenty of screenshots of that movie. I know a lot about it, right? Even though I've never... I may have watched some of it on TV at some point if it was on. But I've heard a lot about it and like looked up things about it. So that's a good pull.
Yep.
I do have one honorable mention that isn't a movie. I know we're talking movies, but The Haunting of Hill House. Have you guys seen The Haunting of Hill House?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, I like all the Mike Flanagan movies.
They are
shows.
all
They're
really good. They are all really good.
Yep.
That was the... Maybe it wasn't the original, but it was certainly the first one that caught fire big time, like nationally or globally or whatever. That movie, or that show, I say movie because it's almost like an 8-hour movie. It's just, it scared the shit out of me. But it is also one of, if not the best, like horror experiences I think I've ever had. Like, it's just such a well put together show. So there you go.
Good pick. I like that
Awesome.
one. I like his stuff a lot.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if anybody has horror movie suggestions, send us emails or, send us messages on Twitter. Or I said Twitter, didn't I? Blue Sky or whatever, any social media. And we'll probably read those on the show. And, I like sharing other types of media besides video games occasionally. And I felt like it was good to do that here because, you have a show that has a little bit of movies mixed in with the video games. So I felt like it suited very well.
It did. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So this is IndieQuest. So what we do is we build the quest log. What is the quest log, you might be asking? It's a video game list of awesome indie video games that we think you should play. There's the main quest, which is an incredible experience, a certified banger, or it's just one of those games that it's a masterpiece. Like everybody should at least try this game. It's worth playing. It's so amazing. And then a side quest is still a great game, but it might have a caveat. It might be like that 8 out of 10, but hey, you should still go check it out. So who wants to put their game on the quest log first? We usually like to save the guests for the middle, if that's okay with Michelle.
Yeah.
So it's between us two then.
Oh.
I'll go first, Josh.
Okay. I knew you were going to say that. That's okay.
Unless you want to.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Mostly because I think you might be surprised by my pick. And for a little bit of background, Josh thought that there was a good chance that he and I were bringing the same game. And we had a similar experience only a couple episodes ago where I thought Josh was bringing the game I was bringing. And he knew for a fact that I wasn't because he was one of 3 people to ever play the game that he brought. So,
you brought Spooktacular this time, right?
Right. That's in reference to Dunkadillo, which is what Josh brought. If anybody didn't listen to 2 episodes ago with Rob was on that one.
Yeah.
So I brought a game that I think Josh maybe had thought would come at some point, but I don't know that he thought that I would bring it. And that is Look Outside.
Oh, okay.
So, some discourse that was had between Josh and myself, and I suppose Steve was in there too, but I think that we were hinting at Petey, Michelle, would be bringing a game that I don't remember what we were talking about. Michelle and I have talked about what she was bringing because I knew that this is a game that I would want to bring if she didn't. But she is a fan of RPGs, and so I thought maybe that would be a good game. And I think her sister also suggested it to her. But fortunately, she bounced off only because she was playing Final Fantasy Tactics, and so then I got to play Look Outside, which makes me happy. So that is how I managed to bring it for this episode. So Look Outside, released March 21st of this year. It was developed by Francis Colombe, I'm not sure. Published by Devolver, which, just check that off, another Devolver Digital, bring. They make them way faster than we can bring them, I'm telling you. Or they don't make them, they publish them way faster than we can bring them.
Yeah.
Currently, it is only on PC, but I think that this is the type of game that should absolutely come to consoles at some point. I think it'd be a great Switch game. I would love to see it on PlayStation for sure. Overview, it is a survival horror turn-based RPG, which I feel like is a genre that personally I haven't played much of, but I feel like is sort of underrepresented in the gaming space in general. The one that I always think of when I think of this type of game is a game that came out way back on the Famicom, and it's called Sweet Home. And it's Petey's thinking she hasn't heard of this RPG.
No, I absolutely have heard of Sweet Home. I'm trying to figure out your correlation between Sweet Home and Look Outside.
I mean, they're both survival horror turn-based RPGs.
Okay,
aren't they? Yeah. Have you played Sweet Home?
I played a little bit of Sweet Home, but I really couldn't get past the first room because, oh my God, what the hell was going on there? But yeah. I feel like, all right, I'll let you continue because I don't know. Like, I don't get the management and creation of crafting tools because there's crafting abilities in this game versus Sweet Home, which doesn't. It's more, Sweet Home feels more like a point and click adventure with, what is it called? Like turn-based
elements.
Into it versus this where it's more, I would kind of describe it more. I'm interested to see how you play. Continue. Sorry.
I will preface it all by saying I'm very generalizing here and lumping these two together. They both have those genres within, and that's immediately the game that I think of when I think of like survival RPG. That's also turn-based. I know there are more that have come out more recently. I'm sure they come out all the time. I think that this one has gotten a lot more attention than some of its contemporaries, I suppose, which is why it's being brought to IndieQuest today. So, first of all, how does the game look? It is the first bullet point I put, and it's the thing that most people will immediately recognize once they start playing it, especially. It is an RPG Maker game. And RPG Maker games are RPG Maker games, right? We have obviously brought To the Moon to this show and all of its sequels up to this point, or as many as we could. I guess we haven't brought the bird one, but we've brought games that are RPG Maker games to IndieQuest. Mm-hmm. And when you've played an RPG Maker game, you've played one, right? You kind of understand how they function, at least, especially control-wise. Like they're generally fairly limited in controls. Like you're kind of walking up, you're walking right, you're walking, like it's very directional, right? There's not a whole lot of freedom there, and that's just the bounds of RPG Maker, I suppose. But I will say that Look Outside does things that's like this goes pretty far beyond your typical RPG Maker game. The dev put an extreme amount of work into the art of this game. Specifically, the enemy sprites are incredible, and almost every single one of them that I encountered had multiple phases, even just regular enemies. Sometimes they'll start off in the distance, and they'll almost always move closer, and it's almost like you're not actually going to get jump scared, but it's like one of those moments where it's like their body starts to rip apart in interesting ways, right? I guess to also add on to that portion, and something I will allude to in more of the story section as we get to it, is that this is very much a Lovecraftian horror genre of game. Lots of eyes, lots of teeth, lots of tentacles, and that's your Lovecraft right there. Interestingly, though, a lot of Lovecraft type games that I've experienced or seen generally have a lot better or higher fidelity graphics, whereas this is very much sticks to that RPG Maker and 16-bit style. And I honestly personally think it nails it in its horror. It's even got elements of gore and things like that it's just like, this is a sufficiently creepy game in a style that is very difficult to make creepy, in my opinion. I know a lot of like more recent games like Mouthwashing, for example, which was brought last year, does that like PlayStation-y N64 style, and those are also sort of hard to nail because it's hard to put yourself in those situations. But those games have started to pull it off too. But to do this top-down style and make it creepy and scary is tough. And Look Outside certainly nails it with its art direction and things like that.
Right. My question for you is it more creepy like the character portraits, or is it like creepy to walk around in the actual RPG like top-down viewpoint? Is that creepy too, or is it more like these character portraits are just so gross and creepy?
I would say mostly the character portraits, but there are times when you get jump scared in the world itself, and you wouldn't think you would. But just things pop out of places that you don't think they're going to, and then you start to expect it a little bit up until the point where it's like, okay, nothing's happening anymore, and then it happens again. It's one of those. It gives you that nice delayed response where you're like, oh, it's not going to just constantly try to jump scare me, but it does it often enough where it's like, oh, keeps you on your toes, makes you remember that it is a horror game. It's not just a survival RPG, right? Michelle, you have played this game and for a couple hours. How did you feel about the way it looks?
Oh my God, I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. Especially, there are opportunities or instances where you need to go brush your teeth because you got a stinky mouth and you got to brush your teeth, and you sit there and look in the mirror and you just look and it's like, but it looks so good because it's very much a reaction of how you're feeling, and you're just like, and the art design, fabulous. I thought it was the best part of the game by far. I loved it. Even like when you're wandering around in the world, very good with its like atmosphere, and you're like seeing the little peoples and the creatures walking around, and I'm like, can I talk to it? Is it bad?
Yeah.
What if I just sneak past it? What is that thing in the corner? I'm gonna run away.
Yes,
you know,
right. It drives home the survival portion in those ways. And I also, a very subtle thing that this game does is it will often put you into situations where your sight is reduced. So you really don't know what's around the corner. Or like even just so you play in an apartment building, that's basically the entire game takes place in an apartment building. There are a lot of areas where the lights will flicker in a weird way and they'll like reduce and then come back. And just for this like 16-bit little RPG Maker game, it really nails creepiness, which is cool to me. So Michelle said that this was her favorite part of the game. I think we're going to get to my favorite part of the game, and she's only gotten a couple hours in, so I'll give her credit where credit's due on what she's seen so far. But she hasn't heard some of the things I've heard, and the music in this game is absolutely incredible. It is amazing. It is truly some of the best indie video game music that I have ever heard.
Whoa.
Wow. Truly. I'm not kidding. You get to there are several boss encounters. Sometimes you're not entirely sure if it's a boss or not because, bearing the lead a little bit here, but you never repeat encounters. It's not a game where you get to repeat encounters. Once you kill an encounter, they're gone. So every single character that you fight is in varying degrees of difficulty, I suppose, but generally the big sprites on screen are the bosses. And again, this is a huge taboo thing that we don't often do on this show, but I have not beaten this game yet. But I am very close. It's longer than I anticipated it would be. I am game time 12 hours in, Steam time 15 hours in, because you die.
Wow.
You die and you have to go back. But I've heard 12 hours game worth of music. And every large creature, as far as I've been able to tell, boss type creatures have different tracks that play when you fight them. And I'm telling you, there are some of the best chiptune banger music that I've ever heard. It's so good. I was trying to think as I was playing, like, what does this remind me of? And to me, it's like a little bit of like Genesis flavor, where it's got that kind of crunchiness. It reminds me a little bit of Phantasy Star 4 soundtrack a little bit, which is really good. But it's like Genesis was always lesser than the Super Nintendo in a lot of people's eyes in terms of the music that it created. But the cool thing about it was that it was extremely unique. And I think that that's what Look Outside does with its music. It's very unique, banging soundtrack, lots of creepy tunes, but also just a lot of like high energy, let's go, let's beat the crap out of this boss type songs. So very fun. Leading into the story of this game. So this to me is kind of, usually it's like, oh, what's the gameplay like, right? And that's what you're doing in a video game. But to me, the story is kind of what drives you in Look Outside. You want to know what the hell's going on, right? So you play as this character named Sam. And Sam, you can rename Sam, but Sam lives in an apartment in this 3-story, well, it's actually like 4-story with a basement apartment building. But you live on the 3rd level, but there's also a ground floor, which is weird. So, whatever. But anyway, so you wake up and you find out something weird is going on. You kind of like get out of bed and you walk over and notice that there's a hole in your wall, which I imagine it's kind of a rundown apartment building to begin with, because I don't think that the events led to there being a hole in your wall randomly. But you notice that there is an eye looking through the wall. And you go over and you talk to this person who's looking into your bedroom. And this person is named Sybil. And they say, oh, you need to see it. It's beautiful. Go look outside. So it gets right to that. Oh, I'm playing Look Outside. It tells me to look outside. We're here.
Did you look outside?
I did not look outside.
Oh, come on. I looked outside.
I knew you did. I knew you did based on what you said.
No,
you were like, oh.
I'm going to tell you more about, we're going to talk more in a second. Oh, don't worry yourself. But I absolutely looked outside and it was amazing because you instantly die. And it's great.
Yeah. I think you can always look outside throughout the entire game. There are windows all over the place. It only lets you look outside in your room, though, for some reason. I always tried to go up to other windows and see if it would let me look outside. They just don't do anything when you try to interact with them. But yeah, Sybil tells you look outside. I walked over to the window, clicked on it. It says, do you want to look outside? Are you sure? And I was like, no. I don't think that's a good idea. And I walked back over to Sybil, and Sybil says, did you look outside? And in my case, I said no. And Sybil says, oh, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I should have told you. You should not look outside. Don't look outside. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you. But you come to find out that as you play through this game, there is something going on out there, as you can imagine. And I've already mentioned the Lovecraftian element of this game. Anybody who has looked outside or has just even been exposed to the outside while this is going on, they have changed in a variety of different ways. I've mentioned eyes, I've mentioned teeth, and I've mentioned tentacles, and you're going to see a lot of that. Oftentimes, it also morphs their way of thinking. So some people are just straight up zombified. They just aren't even human anymore. They're just like walking zombies and often will have extra appendages. But there are people in the world, and this is what I think is super, super, super cool about Look Outside. There are people in the world who have looked outside and they are, for lack of a better term, fucked up. Like they look screwed up, but they have not lost their reasoning. They're still somewhat sane, right? So you end up encountering these characters where it's very much a moral dilemma of, is this person redeemable or are they just gone? And that's kind of, and Petey kind of alluded to it earlier by saying, can I talk to this person? Or are they just going to fight me, right? Because in survival horror games, usually it's very black and white, where it's like, that's a zombie. Either I kill it with my limited resources, or I avoid it. In this game, that zombie might potentially be a friend, and you might actually even be able to recruit that character onto your team. So it's like, it almost forces you to want to run into encounters, to see all the dialogue that you can see from every character in this game, every NPC, every potential bad guy or character that could be on your party at one point. Very interesting, in my opinion, for a survival horror. The premise, like I said, there's things going on outside, and generally you're trying to figure out what's going on outside without looking out there, without exposing yourself to it, because there are some that are okay, but nobody is just normal after they look outside. So it's best to be avoided and try to figure things out as you move through the apartment building, helping people, trying to kind of sleuth out what's going on out there for a variety of different characters. And while I have not gotten an ending myself, I do for a fact know that there are several endings that you can get in this game. I think 9 plus, depending on items that you collect and characters that you talk to. You can literally wake up in your apartment. You have a video game console, and you've got like some crosswords, and you've got your laptop. You can literally never leave for 15 straight days. Just live in your apartment, which a lot of us would not go out into the hallway and see what's out there. And you could literally just live there and do nothing for 15 days and still beat this game. It would be boring, I assume. You wouldn't be doing much. You would be kind of just chilling on your couch for most of the time. But you can do that, and you're allowed to do that, which is just super cool, in my opinion. So
I will ask, since I played this game a bit for a couple hours, and I played it with a batch of chaos, because that's what I do. How, and when I say this, is this going to be very typical? I mean, I guess this is sort of a spoiler if I ask this, which is fine. We're going to do it anyways, because this is the type of game that it is. How much killing did you do?
I did a fair amount of killing, and found out after a while, and I think that this is a good suggestion for people who haven't played Look Outside yet. The majority of characters that you're going to run across that you can fight are not like recruitable, and you can't save them. But there are a couple that don't seem like should be, but turns out they are. And I imagine you got to this point where there's like an apartment across the hallway with a family in it that happen to have more teeth than the typical person. I don't know if you ever, So there's a character. There's a character in there that you can recruit and have on your team. I didn't know it at the time. Just killed him. But, yeah, that's the cool thing about this game.
It's very Undertale.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of...
Yes.
I was going to say that. It reminds me of Undertale, like the, pacifist run, or the, whatever the killing everybody run is.
Yep.
Yep. And a pacifist run in this game is like, to me, sit in your apartment and do nothing, because I can imagine it would be so hard to play through this game, just dodging all enemies, not getting any experience, because Undertale is very scripted in a way to keep you on the linear path. That is where Look Outside branches from Undertale, because I do think that there's similarities, but the choice, the insane amount of choices at every corner in this game is just off the charts. You can do almost whatever you want. And I imagine that by game's end, almost everyone you talk to will have encountered totally different people, will have made completely different choices, will have a completely different set of characters in their party that they're playing with. And that's what I think is super cool, because there's even a lot of characters will, while you're doing things in your apartment, cooking, you can make items, crafting, right? Like Petey mentioned earlier. You can play video games and stuff like that. But the interesting thing that can happen in your apartment is while you're doing these things, randomly people can come and knock on your door and you go and you look through the eye hole and you can only see a very shadowy figure, right? And so you kind of have to guess at, especially early on, it's like, I'm not very strong. Is this person just going to murder me right now? When's the last time I saved? That type of thing. And you open the door, and sometimes that person is just creepy as hell looking, but they're like, I need a place to crash. And you let them in, and then you go talk to them, and they're like, oh, it's like one of the options is manage party. And it's like, I got a new party member. So you have to take some huge swing risk type things in order to benefit the most in this game.
Yeah. It feels like a game, the way you're describing it, be one to play like every year or like revisit later on and try different things to see what happens, right? That's what it feels like.
I have perused achievements, and there are nearly 100 achievements.
That's like a roguelike. That's
I
like
know.
Binding of Isaac.
It
Yeah.
is crazy. A lot of them, I will say, are just for bosses. Because every enemy encounter, practically, in this game is optional. That's why they have achievements for them, because a lot of them are pretty tough. Like, you get into them, you die, and it's like, oh, do I really want to go through that again? I don't know. I'll go a different direction. I'll just avoid that character altogether the next time. But because of the difficulty and because of the limited resource nature of a survival horror game, if you do beat some of those large boss type creatures, you get achievements for them. So a lot of those are achievements. But there's also like achievements for beating the game in under 3 days. And you have 15 total days to technically beat it. There's an achievement for never sleeping. There's an achievement for never eating. And I'm going to tell you, that would be hard, because food is such a massive resource in healing your party. And we're going straight into more gameplay elements here. In survival horror games, generally, you have to manage your loadout, your items, and things like that efficiently, so you don't run out of stuff. It's the same thing in this game, except at least myself, I'm so used to playing RPGs where, my party's banged up, or I just went out and got done grinding, need to go find an inn, or in Pokemon, need to go find a Pokemon Center. And yeah, I mean, in sort of more difficult RPGs, they'll charge you a decent amount to stay in an inn. Look outside, there's no such thing as an inn. I mean, the only thing you can really do is sleep at the end of a day. You don't get to sleep whenever you want. So you have to actually go out and do things to get to the point where you can actually sleep, unless you just sit in your apartment and play video games all day. But it is tough in that way. You have to really, your health is a very serious resource that is in need of watching as you play. Even later on in game, when I've got 4 party members and I'm going through sections, you get done with a tough fight and you look at your party and they're all beat to crap. And it's like, well, I'm going to go back up to my apartment, but what are we going to do? We're going to sit there. It's 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm not even allowed to sleep for another 5 hours. So I either got to figure out whether I can utilize the resources that I have in inventory. I've got to use the food to heal them, but that's one less food or resource that I can use later, right? I'm explaining survival horror to people who have probably played survival horror, but it just feels so different in this game because of the amount of choices that you can make. Now, I will say that items are not so scarce that you feel so terrible about using them. You can there's like a shop, there's a guy in an apartment that will sell you stuff pretty early on in the game. But the resource that is limited, in my opinion, is currency. You just don't. Battles give you currency, and you can find money laying around sometimes. But man, especially the first half of this game, I was blowing through my money so fast. I just didn't have any money to buy anything extra. So for the RPG player like myself that tends to hoard a lot of their items anyway, this is kind of perfect for that, because you almost need to hoard your stuff. And last ditch, okay, I need to use it now to actually get through this section or to actually get the hell out of here and try to get back to my apartment. I got to use my items, right? So in that way, a very fun survival horror experience. I don't know what experience you had with it, Michelle, as you were going through in the beginning part of the game. But in my opinion, the beginning part of the game is some of the toughest because you just don't have anybody in your party to help you like move through these sections. So
Yeah, I ended up getting one character in my party. And again, I played for a couple hours. But I think what made me drop off of it was the realization that, oh, this is going to take me over 10 hours. I'm not going to make it in time. Tactics is sucking the life out of me. So I need to find a game where I need like short and crispy so I can be able to finish it, because I knew I just didn't have it in me. Plus, I could start seeing the loop of what was happening. And I was like, okay, I know what direction we're going here. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I've chosen a path, and I've already committed my path of chaos. And we're just going to go off of that right now, because you go into the game totally blind, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to walk around. Ooh, this thing isn't coming at me. I'm going to kill it. We're just going to kill it, kill it, kill. I was killing everything.
Yeah. I was also killing, almost everything, to the point where I killed a character that I could have recruited, and I didn't know that at the time, although I think that I kind of guessed at it. What I'll say is I completely agree. I think this is a game that you have to go into blind and play it that way to begin with. But then if you're struggling, or if you get through this game once, then I kind of feel like using a guide would be nice on repeat efforts, because there's a lot of, it's very old school RPG in that there's kind of a lot of cryptic shit in this game that you kind of have to read between the lines on certain things to figure out how to do stuff. The recruitable character is that I mentioned, that is very, very early on. It's within like the first half an hour to an hour you can recruit this character. You have to do a series of different events and answer questions pretty spot on perfectly in order to actually recruit this character. And then you actually have to get into a battle with that character and utilize an item on them that you wouldn't maybe even know.
That's too much.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Too much.
Yeah.
So, and you can certainly deduce it from the things that character says, but it's still a lot, because you're scared of everything at the beginning of this game. You get your butt kicked just by walking around if you're by yourself. Like, it's tough. It almost feels like the original Dragon Quest for the first 2 hours, where you just have nobody to lean on. It's just old Sam, and you're just punching zombies and teeth creatures. Like, and you're just like, oh, I hope I'm doing the right thing, and I'm just trying to get back to my apartment in one piece. Like, that's kind of how it feels until you build out your party. And I will say that it starts to get a little bit more manageable as you get more characters, because you can lean on other characters. All the characters have skills and abilities, which I'll touch on a little bit further in a second, but it rounds out a lot more as you get into it. I'll mention here as well that you can actually play this game on easy. And I don't know all the differences. Yeah, you can choose at the beginning. There's either normal, and it's like, oh, you've played survival horror games before. Or easy's like, oh, you want an easier time with this. I think the main difference, and this is also a huge thing, is that on easy there are auto save times where yes, and Michelle reacted that way because this game, saving is a resource in Look Outside, which for a lot of people will piss them off. Like, it just feels unfair. And I'll even say, not completely unfair. Like, I understand why it's like that. It does feel unfair at certain times, especially when you've gone to different areas and you've fought a tough thing and you just didn't get far enough on this threshold. So there's this bar that fills up at the bottom of your screen that will tell you, oh, you've done difficult enough things to save it again. Like, you've adventured far enough away. You've been away from your apartment for long enough to be able to save. So let's say you decided you want to go do something that's very close to your apartment, but there's like an optional boss fight in an apartment a couple of doors down from your apartment that you don't have to do, but you can go try it. A lot of times you don't know that these things are optional, or maybe you just stumble in there and then you end up that sometimes an enemy will see you and they'll just sprint at you, and then you'll be in an encounter and that's it. Maybe you haven't saved it for a half an hour. Maybe you were just walking back to your apartment. You said, oh, I don't remember walking in this door. And you go in there and you're completely screwed if you do that. Now all of a sudden you get a game over. You haven't saved it. back to go do whatever else you did on your that little section. That's where it's almost roguelike-y in a way, because it just makes you start again, even though you're not starting at the beginning. It makes you go back and start again. It's that old school kind of brutal difficulty that you might expect from older RPGs that look like this, right? Once you kind of get used to it and understand the loop of, okay, I just need to stay out for long enough that I can fill up that little bar to give me the little floppy disk. Now I can go back and talk to Sybil, and I'll be able to save my game again. You start to understand that motion, but at the beginning of the game, when it's just Sam, you're struggling to even step foot outside your apartment and do anything of worth, and you're not filling up that bar at all. It can feel pretty oppressive, and that's how I felt about it.
Yeah, I was afraid. I'm like, oh, I'm too far. I need to run back. Oh my God, what time is it? Have I been long enough? Can I go sleep yet? I don't know what time it is. What time? Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. The only other thing I'll mention about like the survivalness of this game is your weapons are also able to break.
Oh my God, that was the worst part. That's the only reason I haven't played, like, what is it? It's one of the Zelda's Breath of the Wild or whatever it is, where the weapons break. I hate weapon durability with a holy frickin' passion.
It makes sense in this game because...
Oh, does it?
Well, okay, I'll explain my reasoning behind why it sort of makes sense. You can't see, like, your weapons don't have a health bar. Most of the weapons that you get are melee weapons. And you'll swing your stuff at things, and eventually they get broken. And the cool thing is you can still use them when they're broken, but they're lesser power. But they go from broken to like shattered, basically demolished, and then you just lose that weapon altogether. So if you don't either switch out weapons or find a way to repair the weapon you were using that got damaged, then it's gone forever. And I learned that the hard way because I got a super cool weapon early on in the game, and I was like, oh, I don't know what happens, and boop, gone. So it's unfortunate. It's annoying, but I think it's like a trade-off of the typical survival horror thing where you have ammo usually for your guns, and you only have so much ammo. So that's this game's version of doing that. I will say that you can also get guns and ammo in Look Outside. Guns are super strong, so find your guns and use your guns because they are so strong. But of course, they have limited ammo. There are ways to acquire more, but that's like very typical of survival horror. On to, and very briefly, I will cover how a battle can kind of happen, right? So you can attack. You can use a ranged attack, so either melee or ranged. You can use a special ability, which you learn special abilities. Sometimes your weapons have special abilities. Sometimes your character levels up enough to use their special abilities. Or sometimes Sam actually learns special abilities from playing the video games, which is super cool. But those are the different things you can generally do in battle. Of course, you can guard, and you can use an item. So I would say that the most basic part of this game are the RPG battles. Like, there's not... this is a very unique game, but this is, in my opinion, sort of the weakest part. I still enjoyed them, but if you've played an RPG, a turn-based RPG in the 90s, you've experienced something like this before. Like, it doesn't branch out. There's no like, if I guard here and I attack at a specific point, then I'm going to be able to do double damage. No, it's all like, you can crit. And you have stats, and the better weapon is going to do better damage. And that's mostly what, after 12 hours, kind of what I've gleaned from it.
See, I wonder if you played it now, again, so let's say you replay it and you don't kill anybody, how the battle system would change.
You mean like how you think it changes depending on who you kill?
No, I'm saying don't kill anybody, Seth. I'm saying don't go the path of chaos. I'm saying don't kill. What if you just use like guard and items and don't kill anybody?
Yeah. that is an option. There are a lot of situations where you can like interact with the enemy in a very Undertale type of way, where you use a certain action and they will be like, okay, we don't need to fight anymore. But there are just as many enemies that are that are straight zombies, and I can tell you they don't do anything different. They'll just keep attacking you until you're either dead or you run away. And
but you can run away. And
you can.
That would change your outcome.
Escaping in this game is pretty easy to do, especially after like the third turn. I think it's 3 turns and you're pretty much guaranteed. You just have to take damage for 2 turns to get there. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about this is, in a lot of RPGs, when you run away from an encounter, that's it, right? You move on. And look outside. You
got to run out of the room.
Yes. The character sprite of the enemy flashes for like 2 seconds. And you better get your butt in gear and get the hell out of there, or else it's going to chase you down again. So, cool, certainly in that way. But in my opinion, straight up, if you're actually doing the battle itself, it's pretty basic. But to Petey's point, you have options. You can choose not to fight. You can choose to run away. You can choose to avoid all battles. It would be hard. It would be tough for sure, but it's doable. It's possible to avoid a lot and acquire the items you need to do things in the game and progress in the game without actually fighting at all, as far as I'm aware. So I've gone on and on. This is an RPG, and we have Go Hobo Go, I think, was the one who was asking us to play more RPGs. Well, here's one.
There we go.
Here's one for you. They take longer to play, and they also take longer to talk about, usually because they're just like in-depth games. But I am prepared to put it on the quest log if you guys haven't, unless you guys have any other questions before I do.
Well, I don't. I already played it.
Sort of.
No, I think I'm good. I think you answered everything. It's definitely an interesting concept, and I can definitely see the inspiration from Undertale. Like, I really feel like it's like, okay, I want to do kind of like a horror twist on that a little bit.
Yes.
Obviously, it's its own thing, but the whole pacifist thing just sounds like it just echoes that, you know, that whole gameplay system. So it's pretty cool.
What's amazing though, whenever you play it, you don't realize. Yeah. Like, I went in, boom, 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 kill. And then I'm talking about with my sister, who is a huge fan of indie horror games. Like, I went to her, I'm like, Betsy, what do I need to play for this podcast? And she gave me like a list and whatever. And I decided this one. And after I decided to drop off of it, she goes, you know, Michelle, you could have not killed anything. And I went, what? Really?
Nice.
Are you serious? That's why I was like, oh my God, Seth, you have to play it. Because I want to see how you did it. Because I went in, like every other RPGer, just going, kill. Yeah. And then my sister's laughing at me and like, yeah, you could have just, because those are people, Michelle. And I was like, oh yeah.
Yes. There are. A lot of these characters give you options where they're like, please, this is terrible suffering. I want to die. And just kill me so I stop hurting others, because they become like crazy monsters and they kill other people who are normal. But, well, yeah, right. So the big thing there is that there is almost always a way, especially around characters who you've interacted with and are nice characters, there's a way to help them without killing them, usually. And you just have to find it. And I did do some of that. It often leads to other battles. But it's just about picking your battles in certain situations. So, anyway, look outside. Leads me right into where am I going to put on the quest log. It's probably pretty obvious. This is a main quest game. It's super good.
Heck yeah.
It's soundtrack's amazing. It looks amazing. It plays really well. There are some things that are a little annoying. The battle system's not overly original, I suppose. Still sufficient. I think that my biggest gripe about this game is that after day like 8, the loop starts to get a little repetitive. Yes, you are going new places, but it feels kind of samey to constantly walk back up to your apartment after a while. Like, that's why RPGs, and I'm not like it works for the setting of this game. It makes a lot of sense. But to me, that's why RPGs have different towns, because you got a different town, different people to talk to, different things to see. Look outside is an apartment building that you're going to walk by the same stuff a lot. just because that's the nature of it. So if you're not into that, I get it. But at the same time, even though it's a little bit of a gripe, I still very much enjoyed it. And it feels like a world that you truly live in for those 10 to 15 hours, however long you end up playing. So let's look outside. And it is a main quest game.
It's kind of like that one game that Dave Jackson brought, Rain World, where it's like, this game's a masterpiece, but you know if you're going to like it by the description. Like, you know if this game is for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, it is similar to that. I will say that in comparison to Rain World, that's a good touch point, Josh. Look Outside is not that hard. It is hard. Yeah, it's not that hard. Like most people, I would say most RPG players can get through Look Outside. If you've never played a turn-based RPG, then Look Outside is probably not the one that I would start on because it's going to punish you. Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
But if you've played a few, or if you've even just played survival horror games, then you're going to be fine with Look Outside, and you can get a lot out of it. It's a very deep game, so really cool.
All right. Well, it's Michelle's turn. What game did you play and are bringing to the show today?
Oh my goodness, my turn. I played apparently, all right, like I mentioned before, my sister's a huge indie horror game. So I consulted with her and she gave me a ridiculously large list to pick from. I picked Looked Outside, but then the one other game that she highlighted, I was drawn to this one because it was short. I beat this in about 3.5 hours, which I'm just like, perfect, crispy. Tactics is still sucking the soul out of my life, so we're fine. And that she went it with the tagline, protect Gary. And I went, okay. I like Gary, sure, whoever Gary is. And I think of Gary, I mean, I know you've mentioned this show before, Josh, because I know it's one of your favorites, SpongeBob SquarePants, the little snail Gary.
Oh, yeah.
So, protect Gary. So, I played Eve, I-B, Eve, which is made in 2012. It is also an RPG Maker 2000 game. It was initially released, it was created by, I'm going to butcher it, Kouri, Kouri, Kouri. RPG Maker game. It was initially released on freeware, so it was free for a really long time. And then recently, some developer re-released it, remastered it, so the menu is a little bit crispier. The graphics are a little bit, we'll say, cleaner. It's still pixelated RPG Maker, don't get me wrong. It's not like HD'd up or anything like that. But it's just a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. It is currently on Steam. You can also buy physical edition on Switch, PS5, and PS4. It's not on Xbox, but that's okay. So yeah, you can get it like on a bunch of different systems. So, what is Ebe? Ebe is a cute little Japanese girl with bloodshot red eyes that is with her parents, and they go to a museum to go see the artwork of Gutera. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. It's just named like Gutera. So you go to the art museum. So you show up and your parents are like, oh my God, let's like get signed in. We're going to go look at some art. So you just go walk around, you're looking at art and you're like, cool, this is great. And you go upstairs into the 3rd floor and all of a sudden there's this huge painting and all of a sudden shit hits the fan. And so you are transported into a surreal world within the art. So the art plays a major role in this. And how many art pieces you see can actually like determine, like there's a counter. You can see like, I think it's 150 art pieces total, depending upon how much exploring and how much wandering around you do. So as Ebe, you're a silent protagonist. This is an adventure horror top-down perspective. So Zelda-like in that sense, but there's no combat. All you're doing is, because you're a straight-up tiny little Japanese girl, is running away from shit the whole time. That's pretty much the presentation. We'll talk about the atmosphere. The atmosphere, you're just looking at paintings. You're trying to find your way out of this surreal world. As you're progressing through it, you realize that, okay, things are going to start coming after you. Everything is not nice. And then they can't run after you and you just run away. You're like, okay, cool, this is great. So I just got to play, tuck and duck kind of deal. Great. So I'm tucking and ducking from crazy women that jump out of paintings and try to crawl and get me. And eventually you do meet other characters who are not trying to kill you within the painting. Hence Gary, as well as other characters that are also involved in this world. Like I said, no combat to have, but there are puzzles. There's lots of puzzles. And there's only one instance where I was like, what the hell am I doing with this puzzle? So the puzzles are not difficult per se. They're pretty, I mean, I love point and click adventure games a lot, but I'm real bad at them because like sometimes the logic is just like, what? King's Quest shit? Like, oh my God.
I 100% am with you there. I feel like point and click people, which Pam is one of those. They're a different breed than me. Like, I feel like I must reason things out differently in real life than those people do, because like, oh, well, obviously I combined the broom with the chicken and it does this. Like, okay, well, sure, I guess. But I think after you play so many of them, you kind of get that rhythm, and they do some things that are similar. But I think my first question, because you mentioned the characters jumping out of the paintings, and we also obviously mentioned that this is another RPG Maker game. Is it scary? Did it make you jump at any points, or is it like the horror elements are there, but they're not there to actually frighten you?
I will say the first time it happens, you go, oh my God, okay, let's go. Let's start doing laps, kids. But after a while, you do get more desensitized to it, and you start to realize, all right, things are going to be popping out at me. I'm going to realize this.
Right.
But then things start to happen unexpectedly. So it does keep you on your toes a little bit. I won't say a lot, because I historically, especially when I was younger, was absolutely terrified of anything horror-esque. It wasn't until recently, whenever I started streaming horror games like Resident Evil, Silent Hills, and such, that I started to get more thicker skin for these type of games. And that's a more recent thing that I've gained in my gaming aspect, and I'm still terrified out of my frickin' mind anything that jumps out at me. So take that with a grain of salt. You're going to be like, if you play this game, you're like, what? That wasn't scary at all. Well, damn it, Michelle's a big baby, so it's fine. I've still beaten almost all of the Resident Evils and quite a few Silent Hills. Although Silent Hill 4, The Room, I cannot handle escort missions if my life depended on it. So the only reason why I didn't beat that yet. So anyhow, yeah. Some horror, but not as bad. What really makes it more horror-y is the atmosphere.
Yeah.
The game does a really great job of incorporating the paintings into the world and then devolving into madness and sort of bringing that element into it.
More like psychological horror in that way. Right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But the puzzles, like I was talking about the puzzles and how like other point and click adventure games can be very difficult. This one is not difficult at all. It's very easy to comprehend if you've played any sort of puzzle game in your life. You're like, all right, I gotta go move to this thing to this. All right, this, kind of deal. You can figure it out pretty easily, except for one instance I was texting my sister. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Oh, I gotta do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Trial and error. It's fine. It took an extra minute my brain to comprehend. But so you do have an inventory system. You have 4 inventory slots. At no point are you managing inventory at all. You get an item, you use it. You get an item, you use it. Like it's a key usually, or like something to use for the story or whatever it is. You can't even all you can do is interact with things. You can slightly zoom every once in a while. So there's really no actual gameplay really involved besides wandering around doing the puzzles and running away from the crazy ladies with their heads chopped off. So, yeah. What also makes this game interesting because right now I'm describing it and you guys like, what is the draw to this game then? Huh? You're just like doing nothing. You're wandering around with your head chopped off. It's like, yeah, you're doing that. But you have decision points to make. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of decision points that determined the outcome of who you are and what the game is going to eventually become. So, like I said before, you protect Gary. If you don't protect Gary, that's a thing. If you don't protect other protagonists in the game, that's a thing. If you decide to be a raging asshole and just start kicking shit around in the museum, that's a thing. So there's a lot of decision points that help you determine like what kind of cute little Japanese girl are you going to be, Seth and Joss? Are you going to be one of chaos or are you going to be one that is going to protect Gary? We'll see. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there are multiple endings within this game as well. Obviously, if you have other key decision points. And the endings, of course, I watched a video on them. They are a lot different. There's a lot of varying different ones. So there's the things. You can absolutely die if you don't avoid the crazy bitches with their heads chopped off or other elements within the game, like running over steam or walking over glass will hurt you. And your health is a rose, because the game establishes pretty early that there's a rose in one of the painting, or it's a sculpture, and then you find a rose. And the way for you to heal yourself is there's various vases of water throughout the game. Very limited. I'm not saying like around every corner. It's a pretty limited. So if you put your rose into the vase of water, that heals you. But do you want to use it right away? Or do you want to explore? You know what I mean? Like, because once you use it, it's done. That water's gone. Right. So you have to be very tactical and like, do I use it? Do I not use it? Is things going to pop out of me in this room that I'm going to hate myself? Or am I going to not use it and then move on and go, whoops, I should have used it. So
how is like checkpointing in this game? Do you just reach a checkpoint and you start there every time, or do you save at a place in the main museum?
Yeah, there's various save points. Very plentiful. All over. Every room has a save point. Whew. No worries.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you like move forward, maybe sometimes you can't go back. There is a save point very shortly away. So you don't have to worry about that. But if you didn't use your vase, like there may not be another vase moving forward. Like the vases are much more infrequent than the saves are. But
makes sense.
I only really died in one particular room a lot.
Do you have to do all rooms to finish the game, or can you skip?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's yes and no. Like there's definitely rooms you don't have to go into, but most of the time it feels pretty linear. Okay. There's not a lot of exploration or open worldness to the game where you're like, oh, I'm going to go to this room first versus this one. Like it's very systematic in the terms of I'm going to this room, I got this key, move to the next spot. This room, this key, and so forth. When it gets towards the end, it becomes a little bit more open in terms of like where to go first kind of deal, but it's not a large scope of a map by any stretch of the imagination. Soundtrack. Probably, I'm going to say the weakest point in terms of all those things. And I talk about this game like it's not very good. It's very good. The atmosphere and the decisions you have to make and how you play it out, I really enjoyed it. But the soundtrack was just like classical music every once in a while with some stinger points into it. It doesn't really feel like it zhuzhed up anything for me, really. You know what I mean? I honestly, today I was like, oh crap, I don't even remember the music. So I like went to a Let's Play to be like, what was the music again? Because I don't remember.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of like piano and yeah. Which can be creepy, in a museum. Certainly. Yeah.
You're in a museum. That's part of the atmosphere. So it was, I mean, apparently this game is known for, it's like one of the, we'll call it like, I don't know, watershed moments for RPG Maker this style of game back in 2012. So it's probably not one of the first, because there was RPG Maker a little bit before that, but definitely one of the more well done versions of this style of game. And I absolutely enjoyed it. At 3.5 hours, I think that is an absolute blessing, because it did not overstay its welcome. And I feel like because it was that length, and because of all the decisions that you're making throughout it, that you could easily replay this game and not feel like it's too much of a burden to do so. Yeah. So I recommend this game. I definitely would put it on the main quest for sure.
Okay.
Just because it's a classic. Is it like, I mean, it depends on like, if you've never played, again, like for some people who don't like RPG Maker games, don't play it. Right. It's not for you, I tell you right now, because you're just a little girl walking north, south, east, and west, like very directional. But I really like Gary.
Yeah, it's a lot like the To the Moon series that Seth mentioned earlier. It's like they're very basic looking and playing games, but the story like that's inside of them, it's what really makes or break these titles. So
yeah.
Josh, had you heard of this game?
I actually never have, so this is the first time I've heard of it.
Neither had I, and I was so surprised to see, and I don't know how many of these people are like coming back to review this game now that it's on Steam from when they played it back in 2012, but I was very surprised to see that, first of all, it has this many reviews. It has well over 1,000 reviews on Steam, but also almost all of them are positive. Like there's very little negative reviews on this game, which super cool. It's just, it's strange. It really goes to show how many games are out there, and that no matter what outlet you try to get your game info from, you're never going to know all of them. Like I had no idea that this was a thing.
Yeah.
Me either. Yeah. And my sister, bless her heart, loves her horror games. Loves them. So it's like, I know where, I'm not going to Google anything. I'm going to go to my sister, and she gave me this one, Look Outside, a bunch of other crazy ones. But this one drew to me because, one, art museum, I love a good art museum. In real life. Great. So I was like, cool, I'll play a little Japanese girl. Sure.
Heck yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Recommend. Play it. Have fun. Be cute. Don't die.
Well, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
I have a more popular game. It's completely the opposite end of the spectrum. It's Baby Steps. No, it's not Baby Steps. I'm just kidding. It's that's not a horror game.
No.
Kind of is. It is a game from Devolver Digital.
Oh.
It is Cult of the Lamb.
Oh my god!
Played it.
Heck yeah!
Yep.
I have this one on vinyl.
Did you think I played this game, Josh, because we talked about it so recently, and I was like, oh, I feel so bad about not playing that. Oh, good call.
Yeah, that's where the connection was there. Recently, we had a commenter. I think it was Lil Yeezus. I think that's the name of the guy. He was like, "You should play this," and I'm like, kind of sitting there. I was like, "What?" Because I wanted to play a horror game anyway, and I was like, "What game should I play?" And then my partner's like, "Play Cult of the Lamb. Just do it. You'll love it." I'm like, "Okay." So I ended up playing it, and I ended up loving it. It's a great game.
So we've already explained I have not played this, but if I remember right, you have, right, Michelle? You've at least played some of it? Okay.
I played it when it was first released, before they released the a patch to make it easier.
Yeah.
And before more DLC stuff. So like you can build your town up and stuff before. Like mine was a very basic bitch town, but I loved it. I love my little cult people and worshiping me because I am a god.
It was like they just like threw everything in the kitchen sink in this game. So as you're assimilating these like different characters and little cute characters. You can have them build like farms, and you have like this temple worship statue thing in the middle of the town that they like give you like points and like devotion points that you can put into different things. There's like 6 or 7 different skill trees in this game, like for like leveling up your combat, leveling up your base, leveling up like various different things.
Porta potties.
So,
always gotta build
porta potties.
Porta potty.
Yeah, because when you start, like you have like multiple guys that are just pooping everywhere, and then people start getting sick in your town, and you're like, okay, well, I could sweep up all the poop. You know, that's just like a very mundane thing. I gotta unlock that porta potty, and I gotta put one nearby so that when they eat and they poop. So there's a management sim element. There's like every day you want to give a sermon to your followers, and they get a bunch of points. And there's also rituals that you can complete inside your like temple, like sacrifice. So every character can age, so you can like sacrifice the old people, or Jesus. You know, yeah. And the points when you sacrifice them will go towards your combat abilities and like how much they worship you more, and your town can level up. There's like 4 tiers to it, and as you level up your town, you can get more buildings to get better resources and more chaos too. There's like elements where you can like get a bar and have all your town folks get drunk.
Oh, I didn't have a bar.
They make poor decisions.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
you can get
fun.
a bar in there. Yeah, yeah. So you can also do like a like I think it's like a sinner's rite or something like that, and like everybody goes crazy and just starts fighting, and like it's really fun. You can just be chaotic if you want to. Also, you can just go fishing. Get some fish, cook some fish meals for your guys, and they all eat it and they poop everywhere if you don't have the porta potty. And then in between all this management, you do pretty simple, I would say, roguelike runs that are about 10 to 20 minutes long. They're not very hard or very challenging. They get challenging as you get more towards the end of the game, but at first it's not that bad. It's pretty simple. You have I always call it the Slay the Spire like choice tree, where you go like you can go like get materials, or you can go like basically branching paths you can choose to go to like the mini bosses and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like Hades in a way, like Hades. You always
like Hades.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so say you get to the end of like a combat room, there will be like a little like thing that zooms out, and you can choose. Okay, I can go to possibly get a follower, or I can go get some resources, or I can go this way. And I'm trying to make my way up to like a mini boss, and there's usually 3 mini bosses and then the one big boss for that area. And then once you beat that area, you kind of move on to the next area, and you do all 4 areas till you get to the big bad. And then the game kind of continues after that. You can keep doing runs, keep building your base and everything like that. But the main gameplay to get to that final encounter with the big boss is about 12 to 15 hours to get there. And it's just really fun. It's addicting. Like this is the type of game where you start at like 9 p.m. and then you look at your time and it's 2:30 in the morning, because you like start getting in that loop. So there's just there's so many systems. I don't know how deep I really want to go with them, because like I could start talking about like how you like get different types of points to level up your combat. And if you like level up your combat, you get higher tier weapons in the runs themselves that you get from like getting a bigger follower base. So it's actually really important to do the management sim stuff. You can't really ignore that. You have to actually go in there and do the, clean up after the villagers, attend to their needs. If there's a dissenter, you got to put them in jail and, make sure they are still worshiping you. If there are old people and they're getting sick and getting the plague, you can get like a version of the plague in there. You got to make sure everybody sleeps and has beds to sleep in. It's just like it's very much that cozy sim with a little bit of little creepiness, a little demons, and a little bit of possession, a little bit of horror just thrown in there. And I love the boss design. I think they're just kind of creepy and cool. So like every area, a little tropey, like there's like a foresty area, there's kind of like a deserty and a snowy area, and the big boss is usually like a bigger form of like, so for example, there's like spiders all in one of this like cave area that you're going through. The big boss there is a giant spider that will rappel up to the ceiling and try to slash you and stuff. So yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to think. I found the combat to be pretty simple, pretty rewarding at the same time. But it's nothing that you haven't seen a bunch of times in other roguelikes. It's like you're going to have the sword, you're going to have a dagger, and then usually the sword or dagger or axe or whatever you have has like a passive, like, oh, this one will cause bleed damage or poison damage, or this one will basically there's a secondary power up that has like this like blood magic that fills up on the top, and that's like your secondary attack. So that could be like anything you pick up. It's like randomized, so it could be like a little daggers that shoot out, or like an area of effect, or you like put blight on the ground and people get damaged by it. And you just start learning what your favorite weapons are. So every time I saw a dagger with poison, I'm going to get that dagger with poison because I can get in there and get a bunch of tick damage and get poison on everybody, you know?
I like the big hammer or big sword is what usually I'm like.
Yeah, it's really good because you can get like slam it down and like kill a bunch of dudes and then roll out of the way, and yeah. And then there's another passive system that's tarot cards that you can unlock as you play these runs. And so it can be anything from like you get an extra heart, or you get to move a little faster, or your character becomes smaller, which is pretty useful for like boss fights and stuff. Or you can have like little tentacles that shoot up out of the ground. It's just like there's so many different elements, and just the randomization is really fun in this because you never know what you're going to get. But if you do enough runs, you start seeing the same cards again, so you can start making little builds, you know, for these little short runs. So I like the game a lot for a pick up and play because like I can do 2 hours or an hour of the cozy sim, or I can do 3 runs. You know, that's 30, 45 minutes. You know, it's nice. It's nice for a handheld too. It's really, I had it on my Switch and I was just picking it up, playing it in between things the last couple weeks here. And it's just scratches that itch of like a little bit of everything that's good about like roguelikes and everything that's good about colony sims. And I think they strike that balance really well.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed the town. I love base building and town management stuff, especially in those like an RPG or roguelike or anything like that. Let me build up a town. Oh my God, yes. And this one was like really good because there's so many things you can manage within as well as like, where do I put all the dead bodies?
You can make like a crypt or like a, you know, just burial plots. Like you make a little cemetery,
or you just pile them up in the corner, and the people just go like, "Ah!" and they get pissed off at you. And exactly. You can be as benevolent or as evil as you want. You know, like you could do whatever. I
love that those choices are there because they didn't have to do that, but it makes it feel like you want to talk about. We've talked about, you know, especially with Look Outside, we talked about how a world feels lived in, right? That makes it feel lived in when all like your choices all impact everyone living within your cult village, right? That's super cool.
Yeah, so one of the mechanics is like the dissenters will come out and they get like these big red eyes, like they're like, you're not a god, you're a false god, this and that, right? So I had one in my town that I kept throwing him in jail, and I kept like, you can like do like a summon or something like blessing or whatever to like kind of get that dissenter gauge to go down every day, and it only goes down so much a day. And I did that 3 or 4 times. He kept on dissenting to the point where I was like, screw you, I'm just going to sacrifice you. And then everybody hated me for sacrificing this guy. My follower count went down the drain. I was like, I'm just tired of dealing with this guy. Get out of here. You know? So, so, you start making those calls and those things in the town, and it just starts to be like just this loop that you just can't stop. It's so addicting. Like the fishing's super simple, but I'll sit there and fish for 30 minutes just because, you know, why not? And then you go home and like everybody's starving. So, all right, I'll go cook some food for everybody. And you just kind of like do a little cooking mini game. You can feed people poop soup if you want. Soup made out of poop if you want to. They don't like you for it and they get sick, but you can do that if you want to, you know? Yeah, so
Does it, like-
it's very much one of those.
Does it
Yeah, go ahead.
like cure their hunger, but it then makes it's
A
like
little
rotten
bit.
meat or something? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that
and
makes
so like a little bit of healing your food, and you're just there like, okay, I guess I'm not that hungry, but oh my god, that was fucking disgusting, and now I'm just gonna be puking
Yeah.
all over the place now. So you're really just making it worse. But you know what? You deserved it for pooping all over the place.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like this takes it to a completely different level from like my days of playing the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, where I would just
Roller Coaster.
make a little area for all my little dudes to run around. I can't do anything really with them, but this is just like this is the dream of kids of the late 90s, early 2000s of playing Roller Coaster Tycoon and building up their own little village. You don't really have a whole lot of control though, and then you have Cult of the Lamb. It's like now you have all of the control and you can do whatever you want.
That's probably why I liked it,
Yeah,
because I love Roller Coaster Tycoon. It's my mouse pad, is Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Yeah, it really does have a lot of that, like The Sims or Roller Coaster Tycoon, things like that, where you're like it's like you start to learn like, okay, I know that food's hard to come by in general, so it's like, okay, well, I can start feeding them poop if I want to, but I also can get this farm to be level 3 and have like villagers like actually planting and doing the crops, so I can make them nice like berry stew or like things like that, or I can go fishing more often and capture some like salmon and stuff, make some fish stew. Most of the things are stew, all the food. But yeah, you can do all that, or you can just like let them just kind of fester, but you will lose followers over time, and that is pretty significant because you need a certain number of followers to unlock the next door. So
Okay.
let's say if you get to the first area, I think it's like 7 or 8 followers to get to the second area, and then it's like 14, then it's like 16, then 20, something like that. So you have to still be building that follower base, or else you cannot continue on with the storyline. So and then after the storyline, you can just keep building and just basically have your little town and just keep on making it bigger and bigger and bigger and keep doing runs. And the runs get more challenging after you beat the last boss. And, there's more story there that can be had, and there's DLC to go through too. So, yeah, it's a great game. Like there's just so many little details I could go into. I don't think it's worth going into every little granular detail, but you become this little lamb and you have your group, your cult, and you just wreak havoc on all these demons and things, and it's just a lot of fun. So,
Heck yeah.
all right. Any comments or questions before I put on the quest log today?
That soundtrack is banger, and everybody should listen to it.
And I guess
it's honestly one of my favorite ones I've listened to in some time.
Really?
Yeah. I have it on vinyl. I mentioned it before, but I'm saying it again. I have it on vinyl. It's amazing on vinyl.
I'll add on to that, and I think we've already gone over this and kind of beaten it into the ground, so I really don't need to repeat it, but I don't think it can be said enough that how pretty this game truly is. You don't think it's going to look this good. It is the most comfy, cozy feeling game when, like, looking at it on the outset, and then you find out the premise. It's
right.
Completely. It is so funny in that way. Like all the little eyes on the little characters are like Amazing World of Gumball or like My Little Pony or something like that.
Oh, very My Little Pony.
So expressive.
Yeah, they're just like so. It reminds me this is a completely different game, but premise is similar. I played several years ago Amanda the Adventurer, where you're it's this very outwardly friendly show, but it's screwed up. And that's how Cult of the Lamb is. Like, it almost feels like you're playing a little cartoon for kids, but it's screwed up. Like, and that's cool. I enjoy that.
Yeah, I would liken like the roguelike, like the runs, to feel like a very stripped down Hades. Like if somebody's into Hades, the runs are like, Hades runs could be like an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. These are like you just hit it and quit it, really. Like they're like 5 to 6 rooms, like 5 to 6 areas which have multiple rooms on there. And then you might like collect a tarot or things to power your little dude up to get to that last boss, and then you do the boss fight. If you die, it's not the end of the world, because like the runs are so short. Just go right back into the run and do it again, and you'll get there. On the normal difficulty, I found it to be pretty easy. Like if you're into like the challenge of like Enter the Gungeon or something like Seth would be, I would say just go ahead and put it on hard. Like that would probably suit you well for like that action gameplay. It does have a Enter the Gungeon thing where you roll through bullets, which I know you like that.
Oh, yeah.
You love Enter the Gungeon.
Yes.
So yeah, they have that element in there too. You got the iframes when you roll, so
Awesome.
it's always nice to have that.
Yeah, the roll is very satisfying. I like rolling a lot in Souls games. So the roll in this, I was like,
Yeah.
woo, baby, just rolling for
They even
days.
have they even have a tarot card that makes it damage people when you roll, which is always nice. So you can just basically chug through people as you're rolling, and
that's
it's just like you always find some new creative way to play the game, which I like that they put DLC in it, because there's still more for me to like chew on for this game. I feel like this is one I'll just pop on and just play a run here, or just mess around with my town, because like I built that town, I decorated the town. I put that pile of bones in that corner, like I made that my world. Yeah, exactly. So you start to get that ownership, so it's always cool. So. But without further ado, I'm just going to throw this on the main quest. I think that's pretty obvious that I was going to put it there. It does start to sound like a genre mashup or something, but it somehow all works together just so beautifully, and it's very well thought out. Like you're struggling on the runs, go do some management sim stuff, level up some things, and you'll start leveling up the lamb's abilities during the runs, and then the runs become a little more simple, and then kind of do, okay, well, I'm kind of sick of doing the runs. Let's go, do the town a little bit. And like, it's just enough of like ADHD, I guess, feeling where it's like, okay, I can go do this and go back over here and go do that.
Yep.
And then before you know it, hours and hours just melt away. So such a really cool game. It's perfect for this time of year too, so check it out.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Good pick. We got both so excited when you said Cult of Lamb. I was like, oh, yay!
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah. another Devolver Digital game too. So we got a couple of those in one episode today, which is nice. All right, well, that's going to do it for our show today. Michelle, why don't you plug what you do on the internet?
Oh, yeah. Check out Point and Drink Adventure on the YouTubes. Pam and I haven't done an episode recently because after the charity stream, we've been a little busy, but it's fine. We're going to record again soon, so don't worry. But yeah, Pam and I, come check us out. Leave us a comment on the YouTubes if you want to reach out to us, because that's the only way you can reach out to us, because we're lazy and we don't check emails. When you check emails for your life and work, the last thing you want to do is do it outside of work. So we just check YouTube comments. I put my foot down on that. But yeah, Point and Drink Adventure on the YouTubes. We're also on Blue Sky. Both of us individually, but we don't have a channel, so I won't plug that, so that's fine. But yeah, that's it.
That, Petey, that is not it. You do
What else do I
something
do?
else. Twitch.
Oh yeah, I do stream. I do stream occasionally. Usually it's Sunday evenings around 6, but again, like I said, I've been busy. Like I've just had work trips lately. Like why do they want me to go to work and drive over there? I don't know. Whatever. So I haven't been streaming on Sundays as much, but I try to do every once in a while in the middle of the week. I am very casual when it comes to Twitch streaming. So most of the time I stream horror games. Like right now I'm trying to do Silent Hill F. I just started it. But I do occasionally like to throw in a little RPG in there. Like I beat Suikoden recently, and I do really want to play Suikoden 2 because I really want to work on my voice acting and a ridiculous, like I find it such a fun challenge to create a new accent for every single character you recruit in these games. God. And oh baby, it gets ugly. So you get some really bad accents that are probably not culturally appropriate, but I'm trying. And it's fine. But so I will play Suikoden 2 soon. Honestly, Silent Hill F, I'm just like, maybe I just need to take a break from horror or something, because right before this I was playing Silent Hill 4, The Room, and dude, have you guys ever played that game?
I haven't, no.
Oh my god. It starts off really great, and then by the end of it, you're just doing an escort mission with this bitch Eileen, and I'm just like, oh my god, woman, can you get on? Can you just follow me? Can we go? Let's go. Stop. Whatever it is you're doing, stop and just go. So, you know, escort missions are the best when it's 2002, whenever that came out. I don't know. Just like, really, game? So I think I just need a break from horror, and I need to work on my Irish accent.
That's the name of the game right there. That's so funny. Full circle.
So I stream on Twitch, PD Puff, because that is my name on
Screen
Discord
name.
As well as, screen name is PD Puff. So I'm PD Puff on Twitch, Point and Drink Adventure on the YouTubes.
Okay.
Awesome. If you have any horror video game or movie recommendations, send us an email, indiequestpod@gmail.com. I do check the emails. I know Michelle don't like checking emails, but I don't mind it. I'll check them. You can also find us on Blue Sky at IndieQuestPod. Seth, where can they find you online?
You can find me at Captain Drachma on Blue Sky, and of course, in the Polymedia Discord, best place on the internet. And if you want to get into that Discord, head on over to Patreon, type up Polymedia, get into, I believe, the first tier, and come and chat with all three of us. We're all in there. So
Yes.
Josh,
and don't be
where can I find
scared by the name of Polymedia, because it's not that kind of poly.
Oh, sometimes. Josh, where can I find you?
You can find me at Josh Leslie on Blue Sky, and on my other podcast, The Monthly Mishap, that I do with our buddy Scotch and Hobbies, which is about movies, and we do it once a month. So it's good times. Oh, well, I think that's going to do it for our show today. Michelle, why don't you close us out and say some good parting words to the folks out there?
Everyone, I hope you have a fabulous spooky season. I hope that if you do consume a little alcohol, drink well, drink safe, and enjoy a spooky video game. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm done.
I really thought you were gonna say, if you do enjoy some alcohol, make sure you don't drive, or you're just like, just do it good.
I should have said that. Do not drink and drive. Please do not. Drink in the comfort of your own home like I do. Don't go outside. Don't look outside, and don't go outside.
There we go.